Welcome back to the lecture series of linear control systems, which is based on KTU syllabus EE303. So today's class, we are discussing about the mathematical modeling of a physical system, which may be a mechanical system or electromechanical system, somewhat. In previous class, we discussed that if you are designing any physically existing model, such as a mechanical model, electromechanical model, normally we will get some ordinary differential equation. It may be a first order differential equation or second order, or it may be higher order differential equations also. But for representing a system and to find its function means what is the system function, what actually the system is transferring. Actually, every system will transfer its input to an output with its particular function. That is known as system function or transfer function. So we actually want to find that particular function of the individual system. For identifying that, it is really difficult to analysis with the time domain equation or a ordinary differential equation. So for avoiding this complexity in calculation, we are normally transferring such equations in time domain to a frequency domain equation or S domain equation. For that, the tool we are using is Laplace transform. By using Laplace transform, we will get an equation in S domain, and from that we can easily find output of Laplace transform of output divided by Laplace transform of input. What was that? It was defined as transfer function of that particular system. So I think it is time to recall the definition of transfer function. What was definition of transfer function? If you are defining exactly, Laplace transform is nothing but the transfer function is nothing but the ratio of Laplace transform of output to Laplace transform of input, provided that zero initial conditions. So in previous class, there was something missing, how we can model a mechanical system to a mathematical equation, and then how we can convert it to Laplace transform. And provided that the condition is very important, we have to keep all initial conditions zero. So what is the physical significance of these things? So in last class, we just came to derive about a simple transfer function of closed loop control system. But till the moment we didn't know how we can convert a normal mathematical equation to such a transfer function. So this is the time for doing this practice, how we can convert some physical objects or some mass or some mass spring system to a mathematical equation, and then we want to convert it to S domain, and we have to find the transfer function. So this is a very important topic, not only in the point of view of examination. It is the area where the basic concept of control system lies. So you should develop some interest for understanding such things also. So we can start now. So modeling of a mechanical system or mathematical modeling of a mechanical system. So what is our aim? Before going to this detailed analysis, we should have some aim, then only we can obtain that result in the final stage. So our aim is to convert a mechanical system to a mathematical system that is essentially containing some ordinary differential equation. So we have to develop the ordinary differential equation for the given system. And the second point, converting ordinary differential equation from time domain to frequency domain. So we have to use Laplace transform. Okay. Third point, to find the transfer function. So this is our aim. So I think now we can move to the next slide. Okay. There is two type of mechanical system. If we are broadly considering for the study of control system, we are classifying mechanical system as translational and rotational. What do you mean by translational system? If we are applying some force and the mass or object is moving in a straight line, then we can simply say it as a translation system. So translational mechanical system moves along a straight line. You can see in the slide. Translation mechanical system moves along a straight line. So, basic element of such a system are mass, spring, damper or dashpot. Damper or dashpot, it is one component. We can call it as damper or dashpot. So some of you may not be that much common with these topics. So this may not be the exact components required for developing a mechanical system. In some systems we can see they are using only mass and spring. In some system, in some system they are using only mass and damper. In some other system they are adding a spring also with it. Whatever it may be, you can add more components with this also for developing a mechanical system. So in our case, we are considering a mechanical system with mass. Mass means it is a object which having a which is having a volume and a weight. So mass. Of course, if we are having a mass with us, it should have some friction. If I am keeping a mass on the ground and I am trying to move it, there should be some friction. It is an essential thing that there should be some friction. So for modeling that friction, we are using damper or dashpot. Actually, what you mean by damper? Damping means provide friction. If I want to damp something means I want to provide some friction to reduce the vibration. So damping means it is some other term of friction. So damper or dashpot, and the third component we are adding is a spring. Okay, these are the three components we are considering in the design of this particular mechanical system. Okay, so now you can see the figure. Okay, in the figure you can see we are having a mass m, and that is placed in the horizontal surface, and you can see I am applying a force F on the x direction, and of course the body is moving through the same direction, through the x-axis direction. So x is the displacement of that particular object. Okay, x is the displacement and F is the applied force. So you can read the things I have written in the red color. If a force of F is applied on the mass m, then it is opposed by an opposing force due to its mass. This is an important point. Everybody knows that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. In that point of view, if I am applying a force on this mass and trying to move towards this direction, due to the weight of this mass or this body, due to the mass of this body will try to oppose the same force. So that is written as Fm. Fm is force due to the mass. So if I am applying a force on the mass in particular direction, the body will develop a counter force due to the mass of the particular body, and the magnitude of the counter force will be exactly equal to the magnitude of applied force, but its direction is opposite. That is written here, Fm and Fr equal and opposite. So what is the equation of force? Force is equal to mass into acceleration. F is equal to ma. Everybody knows it. So force is equal to ma. What is a? A is acceleration of body, because we are applying some force on the body and we are moving the body. So the body should have some acceleration. So Fm is equal to counter force, that is equal to mass into acceleration. Mass is given, that is m, and acceleration is equal to a. What is the equation of a? If x is given, x means displacement. If displacement is given, dx by dt is velocity and d square x by dt square is acceleration. That is, double differential of displacement is acceleration. Differential of displacement is velocity. So these things are known to you. So I am substituting A with the acceleration A with d square x by dt square. Now Fm is equal to m into d square x by dt square. M into d square x by dt square. Okay. Now Fm is equal to m, that is also known for you. So I don't need F directly. I want to find Fm. Okay. Now I am discussing about the damper or dashpot. So what is a damper or dashpot? I already told you that damper is nothing but it is a component which is used to model the friction of a surface. So here I am applying some force and I am moving. I am moving the object throughout the surface or throughout the horizontal surface. So we should experience some friction. That friction is designed using a damping effect or damper or dashpot. Okay. So you can read here F is equal to force applied and x is equal to displacement and v is equal to velocity of motion. So if a force is applied on dashpot, now I am considering the dashpot separately. If a force is applied on dashpot B, then the dashpot should have an ability to develop a counter force. Every component in the nature should have some ability to develop a component force to the force applied on it. So the dashpot will also develop some force. In the last case, force of the mass is directly proportional to force of the mass. Fm is directly proportional to acceleration. And equation is equal to F is equal to mass into acceleration. So mass is a constant. In this case, if force is applied on dashpot, then it is opposed by opposing force Fb. I am representing a letter B for dashpot. Dashpot is represented by a letter capital B and force of dashpot is Fb. So what is the component inside the dashpot that developing this force? In case of mass, what was the component developing that counter force? It is the mass itself. The mass itself having a ability to develop a counter force. But here, which is the component developing the opposing force? That is nothing but the friction. As it is a damper or dashpot, its friction is having a ability to oppose. It is simple. You can think with your own logic. If you are trying to move something, the body friction will try to hold it. So it is developing some force opposite to that. So now I am trying to write an expression for that Fb. So Fb is directly proportional to that friction force is directly proportional to the velocity of our sliding. If I am sliding the material with more fast, that friction force will be higher. So Fb is directly proportional to velocity v of the mass. Fb is directly proportional to v. So Fb is equal to B into V. What is B? B is friction coefficient, capital B. I am representing damper winding also with, I am representing damper also with the capital B and capital B is also friction coefficient. So this is a practice we are usually taking in the design part. We are designing a dashpot with capital B and also we are representing coefficient of friction with capital B. In the case of spring also, we are representing spring constant with capital K and also spring is also named as K. That is a common practice everywhere we are conducting. So now Fb is directly proportional to velocity v and Fb is equal to, we are giving some constant, that constant is coefficient of friction, that is equal to B into V. Now I am substituting V in terms of x. X is the displacement. So V is equal to velocity, then V is equal to differential of displacement dx by dt. Now I got capital F, that is equal to Fb, that is equal to B into dx by dt. So I have developed the two forces. Now I have to go for the third force, that is nothing but in the case of spring. If I am having a spring on the same system and I am applying a force on the spring, what happened? The spring will definitely develop a counter force. If I am applying a force on the spring, a spring will definitely develop a counter force. Okay, what what will be the equation, or what will be the parameter which is depending on the force developed by spring? Think, if I am having a spring and I am trying to uh, make it more stretching, then what happened? If I am applying more force and I am moving into a bigger length, its force will be also higher. If I am applying a very small length and I am extending to a small length, the force will also small. So this force, that is force developed by a spring, or Fk, is directly proportional to the length of extension, or it is directly proportional to x itself, the displacement itself. So f of x is directly proportional to displacement. So if we are avoiding the directly proportionality, then we have to give a constant. That constant is nothing but it is spring constant k. So f of k is equal to k into x. K is spring constant. So we got three equations. In the case of mass, force was Fm, that is nothing but m d square x by dt square. In case of dashpot, force was Fb, that is equal to b into dx by dt. And in case of spring, force was Fk, that is k into x. Okay. Now I am combining these three elements to a single mechanical system. That system is known as mass spring dashpot system. Mass spring dashpot system, or mass spring system, because in every mass spring system there should be a friction. So dashpot is understood in itself, but in normal practice we are commonly representing it as mass dashpot system or mass spring dashpot system, whatever it may be. So I am representing the three components together, and I am applying the same force on mass, but the mass is connected to spring and dashpot. So the same force will extend into three components equally. Now I can write the total force F of t is nothing but sum of the three individual forces developing on the three components. Is it clear? If I am considering each element separately, previously I was considering mass separately and I was applying some force and I got a force on mass, a force due to mass Fm, and I considered spring separately, I got a force Fk, and I considered dashpot separately and I got a force Fb. Now I am missing the three things in a single line or single system and applying a force in one component, but that is affecting the three components simultaneously. So what happened? That is nothing but if I am moving, if I am moving, okay, if I am moving, applying a force here, and the mass will move in this direction with a distance of x, then spring will also get stretched and dashpot will also offer some friction. So these three things act simultaneously. So I can say that the Ft, the applied force Ft is equal to F of mass plus F of dashpot plus F of k, that is Fm plus Fb plus Fk. You can see it here, it is here inside the box. Okay. Okay, now Ft is equal to, I am substituting Fm is equal to m d square x t by dt square. Now I bring all the terms into a time variable. That's why I'm not simply using f. Now I am using it as f of t, that is equal to m d square x t of dt square plus b dx of t by dt plus k x of t. Now all the variables are having a factor of time. So it is, now it is coming to a dynamic system, and we will realize that it is a time invariant system. Generally, if we are designing any one of such system, we will definitely get solution of a, we will definitely get a second order or first order differential equation that will definitely show the characteristics of a linear time invariant system, and it should be causal, and it will be homogeneous or heterogeneous. Both chances are there. I will tell why it is homogeneous or why it is heterogeneous. So now I am summing these three things. So f of t is equal to, I got the first equation, and in the second equation it is another representation. If if d square xt by dt square, that is double differentiation is there. So I have to write it as x of t double dash or double dot. Double dot means double differential. Is it clear? Here x double dash t is nothing but it is equal to d square x of t by dt square. So the differential is given by 1 dot. If it is double differential of x with respect to time, it is x of t double dot. So the equation can be rewritten as f of t is equal to m x double dash t plus b x dash t plus k x of t. Nothing is changing. Now it is known as, this equation is known as governing equation of the motion. It is known as governing equation of the motion. So what is the order of this equation? It is having a higher differential of order 2, d square x t by dt square or double dash. So it is a second order differential equation, and you can definitely see all the coefficients are constant. It is a second order differential equation with constant coefficient, and it is also linear. You can check if you are interested in mathematics, and it represents a time invariant system because all the variables are showing the relations with time. And of course it is heterogeneous because there is on the left hand side you can see it, by summing all this we are not getting 0, we are getting some resultant force f of t. So it is it should have some heterogeneous solution. Such things are there. If you are interested and you have to realize it in terms of mathematics, you have to go in depth. Otherwise you can just study it like this itself. It is, if you are seeing 2 dots, it is a second order system, like that. That is also enough for your understanding purpose. Okay, now I am converting this characteristic equation or this governing equation into Laplace transform. In this case, you should have to recap your basics of Laplace transform that you have studied in previous semester. So the property you need here is nothing but Laplace transform of derivatives. That should be there in every textbook. Property, there are 5 or 6 properties, important properties for finding Laplace transformer with some easier methods. So this is one among that, Laplace transform of derivative. So Laplace transform of x double dash t or Laplace transform of d square xt by dt square is equal to, I am writing this first equation. The inside the box I have written 3 equations. That 3 equations are standard equations. These equations are not part of this derivation. These equations are standard equations that you should learn before in the previous semesters. But for recapping or for brush up it, I have bring all these equations inside this box. So you can just see that Laplace transform of x double dash t is equal to, as it is double dash, you have to start with s square. That is it. That is, if it is double differential, you have to use s square. If it is single differential, you have to use s. Okay. So that is equal to s square x of s. You have to be very careful that in case of x of s, you have to use capital X. And in some other case, you will get x of 0. In that case, you have to use small letter x. So s square xs minus s into x0 minus x dot 0. You have to remember this thing by learning it by heart, or you have to memorize by using some simple tricks. That's up to you. And next point, next equation, Laplace transform of single derivative L of x dash t or L of d square x by dt. That is, if I am having single differential, I have to start with s. S of xs minus, what will be the next term? S of xs minus, s is over. In the first case, you are starting with s square. So there will be a s term also, and that will be x of 0. And then you have to add x dash term also. In this case, if you are having a single differential, equation is s of x of s minus x of 0. And the third case, Laplace transform of x of t, that is nothing but x of s. That x is capital. Wherever you are adding x of s, you have to use capital. Wherever you are using x of 0, you have to use small letter s. That is the thing. Now, here you can see x of 0. What is x of 0? X of 0 is nothing but x of t. That is, x of t means it is staying in time domain. You have to go to time domain and you have to take that x of t and substitute t is equal to 0. So it is representing some initial condition. T is equal to 0 means 0 instant. 0 instant means on the starting of the integration, that will start from the 0 instance. So we are going to initial condition by representing x of 0. So x of 0 is nothing but x of t at t is equal to 0. Then x dash 0 also will be, we have to find its differential and we have to apply t is equal to 0. Okay, so I am applying these three equations into the above equation. So m of x double dash d na. So m of s square xs minus s of x0 minus x dash 0 plus b of s of xs minus x of 0 plus k of x of s is equal to f of t is Laplace is converted as f of s. I think it is very clear. There is nothing else. I have just substituted the standard equations into the obtained equation. Now I have to split it as output and input. Which is the input? Which is the input we are applying? Input is nothing but the force. Which is the output we are obtaining from the mechanical system? It is nothing but the displacement. So we have to split these two things. So output is displacement x. So I am bringing all the coefficient of x of s together one side, or I am grouping it. You can just see that all the coefficient of x of s are grouped. That is nothing but m into s square is one coefficient of x of s, and here also b into s. Sorry. So m into s square plus b into s plus k into x of s, that is equal to after that I am transferring all the other components to right hand side of the equation. Okay, that is equal to ms plus b into x of 0. So I am transferring the components of x of 0 to right hand side, plus there was only one x dash 0 component that was also with m. You can see here, this is the only one x of 0 component, that is m into x dash 0, that is also transferred to right hand side. So it became plus m into x dash 0, and already there is a f of s at right hand side. Now the equation is ms square plus bs plus k into x of s is equal to ms plus b into x of 0 plus m x dash 0 plus f of s. So here came the beauty of this derivation. Now you are taking the output x of s on the left side, and you are converting, or you are transferring all the other components to right hand side. So you are dividing the ms square plus bs plus k with the entire rh right hand side. So here is only one f of s term. I am grouping it one as a separate term. I am grouping the f of s as a separate term. So f of s by ms square plus bs plus k is here, and I am dividing all the other terms on the right hand side with this ms square plus bs plus k and grouping this term as another term. So in the right hand side I obtained two terms. Is it clear? I have divided the ms square plus bs plus k with the entire right hand side, but I am grouping it as two components where f of s is given to a separate component. Therefore, f of s is identified as a separate component. Okay. Now you will get why I have did so. Now you can see in the first component, there is no f of s. What is f of s? F of s is nothing but the force or input you are applied. So the first component, what is x of s? First of all, you have to tell that what is x of s? X of s is the output, okay, and this is the output component which is not having any relation to the input. What is the input? Force f of s. So output is having a particular component which is not having any relation to the input f of s. Can you imagine how such a component happens? Such a component occurs only due to the initial condition. Initial condition means before you are applying f of the force on a particular instant of time. Suppose I have applied a force f on the 10th second, but you don't know what was the condition of the mass or the system at 0th instant. This equation shows that there was some condition at the 0th instant. There was some non-zero initial condition was present. Some non-zero initial condition was present, and that condition, due to that non-zero initial response, we obtain some output. In the previous class also I mentioned one example. If I am having a mass at the 0 instant, or at a instant which is very prior to the specific instant of application of force, on that instant or at the 0 instant I have applied some force and moved the mass, and I remove the force. What happened? The mass will go to its initial position, but it is having some initial condition. It is storing some memories of the force I have applied on the 0 instant. That is an example of initial condition. If I am having a spring, I just pull it and I released on the 0th instant. I just pull the spring and I released on the 0th instant. That is a case of non-zero initial condition. So that non-zero initial input is also reflecting in the output x of s. So I can divide the output to two parts. One is due to non-zero initial condition or free response, that is known as free response. Other one is the expected response due to our input, which is our input f of s. So output x of s having two components. One is an unexpected output which is due to non-zero initial condition, this is known as free response, and an expected component which is due to the input we are applying, that is nothing but the force, and that component is known as forced response. We are applying some force f and we are getting some output displacement x. We are applying some force f and we are obtaining some output displacement x. Okay, is it clear? I hope it is clear. Now I don't want such a big thing as a response of the system, and I want to avoid this thing. Which thing? Free response. Definitely I have to avoid this free response. What is the reason? Can anyone tell? What is the reason I have to avoid this free response? It is nothing but what is our aim. In the first slide I have mentioned what is our aim. Yes, what is our aim? Okay, our aim is nothing but our aim is to find the transfer function. What is the definition of transfer function? This is the ratio of Laplace transform of output to input provided that initial conditions are 0. So I have to make all the initial conditions are 0. Then x of 0 is assumed as 0 and x dash 0 is also assumed as 0. Then what happened? The entire time is having x of 0 and x dash 0. So this total term will become 0. Now it is very clear, x of s is equal to 1 by ms square plus cs plus k into f of s. Now you have to transfer the input f of s to the left hand side. Now it is x of s by f of s, that is output's Laplace divided by Laplace of input, that is nothing but 1 by ms square plus cs plus k. So what is this? This is the transfer function of the entire mechanical system with 0 initial conditions. I think now it is very clear. This is the scientific way of approaching such an equation. And of course, there is some more details of mathematics that you can add if you are interested how it is linear. Such things are there. Of course, it will take some more time consuming process to relate all these things, but still, I think this will give a strong foundation in mathematical modeling. And the next class, we have to do how we can compare this mechanical model to a electrical system. That term is known as analogous. This mechanical system is having some same character, some same electrical circuit having the same characters. So we can tell it is mechanical electrical analogy, or it is said as force voltage analogy and force current analogy. That is also an important topic in your first module. We will see that in the next class. Up to that, you have to be very thorough with the basic concepts, and you have to go through with Laplace transform, inverse Laplace transform, and some basics of ordinary differential equation. What is the solution? Such things are there. That also you have to brush up, because that will help you to understand this subject in a better way. Otherwise also you can understand and you can get some marks in the exam, but there is some limitations that will limit you throughout your lifespan without having basic knowledge in maths. So hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you. We can see in the next slide. Thank you.